Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is news and week in review, although we will be light on the news part. I'm still fairly behind with all the holidays and things, and that means less time online. The whole Jewish holiday thing in general, by the way, the Jewish holiday for context, we have a whole bunch of holidays, but they're mostly concentrated, sadly, in September and October. There's a whole chunk of them all together there. But we have, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 days off a year, maybe less than that, something like that. But a lot of them, like 7 of them, all happen in the same month. It's basically the whole high holy days, the Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, then Sukkot, and all that stuff. And that means a whole lot of time offline. Combine that with some degree of travel for various conventions, and I've just been... well, I've been less able to pay attention to Facebook and my news feeds and my emails and take down all the proper news bits, which means... that's a, minute-long way of saying this is going to be light on the news this week, although we do have winners. We do have giveaway winners. Reminder, as always, before we dive into the giveaway winners, this is for the PAX giveaway I announced last week. Now, first of all, I will try to reply to all your comments, but if I don't, well, then it's on you. But I will try to reply to your comments. But in any case, as far as giveaway winners, reminder, do not reply to anyone down below. I'll reply to your comment with me, with Board Game Co. We'll reply to your comment. Separately from that, send an email to alex@boardgameco.com if you are one of the winners, alex@boardgameco.com. Do not send anyone any money on Telegram or on WhatsApp or any other site whatsoever. There should be no fees associated with this whatsoever, so don't send anyone any money, because if you do, well, it means that they have your money, and there's not a lot I can do about that. So don't do that. But anyway, giveaway winners. We have 5 giveaway winners for a full badge to PAX. As usual, by the way, timestamps down below to all the relevant sections. We'll be diving into light on news, a little bit of a topic of the week, very small one, and then just general week in review, all the usual things. But starting off the bat, like I said, with the 5 winners, we have Robert Silver, who said PAX as his comment, which is all you need to do. All you need to do is say PAX, but yeah, PAX. We have William Choate, or Choate, something like that. William Choate, with another PAX. Another PAX. We have Ren Delaney, who would love to attend PAX, who was considering it anyway, and this will be your first trip to the US. Well, Ren Delaney, I believe we just made your trip like, I don't know, $90 cheaper, $100 cheaper. I don't exactly remember what the full 3-day badge to PAX is. It might have been $80 cheaper. Well, we made your trip cheaper in some way, Ren Delaney. Either that, or you can gift it to somebody else who's going to the US in case you decide not to go. We have Churs, I believe, Chirs, who said PAX was one of his first conversations and it was so much fun. I'm assuming you meant convention, but it might have been your first conversation, in which case it was probably so much fun. But Churs, you have PAX as well. You have another badge to PAX, full 3-day badge, all that stuff. And then we have, and I'm even going to try to pronounce this because this is CR3DOS. So, Slidros, whatever it is. PAX, looking forward to Season 3 of Cthulhu Death May Die, which I agree with. I'm very much looking forward to Season 3 of Cthulhu Death May Die. Got some more information about it. I talked about it this past week in my live stream just a little bit. But basically, short version of Cthulhu Death May Die, small updates, is they're going to have more content for the game. Obviously, I don't yet know if they're going to have Season 1 and Season 2. It is standalone, but they're also introducing a way to add random monsters to your game. So in addition to having the scenario, the Elder God, you also now have 2 random monsters with the way they are incorporated to your game, which will make the game harder, but to compensate for that, you also have relics, which the investigators will have. So some new information about Cthulhu Death May Die, or at least new to me. You may have known about it already. I don't know what they showed at Essen. In any case, with all that and all the PAX stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the news, starting off with Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the board game. This is coming to Kickstarter. We have 15,000 followers. This is from Arkan Studios. It's coming to Kickstarter in November 2022. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. This is obviously a video game. I have never played the video game. I'm pretty sure it's a video game. I'm like 99.7% sure it's a video game. But Heroes of Might and Magic... Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the board game, coming to Kickstarter with 15,000 followers, which is a very, very solid number of followers, which led me down a random rabbit hole of just thinking of follower counts in different campaigns, which we'll go through now, because honestly I don't have that much in the way of news, so I figured I'll go ahead and do this small little rabbit hole thingy. We have Elden Ring, which currently has 19,000 followers over on Kickstarter. Still curious to see how this one does. They kind of hit 15,000 followers in like a single week. Like, not even like 4 days after announcing they had 15,000 followers, but then since then it's stagnated. It's still growing, but it hasn't like continued to grow at the pace anywhere near the pace it initially did, which means for a short time, I thought Elden Ring might prove to be one of the most funded, not one of, the most funded board game Kickstarter in the board game space. Less searching now. 19,000 followers is excellent. It's going to be a very successful campaign, but we might be talking anywhere between 3 million to 8 million to possibly crossing that 13 million mark and being the most funded ever. I'm skeptical of that currently with the amount of followers, which led me down an additional rabbit hole, which we'll get to in a second, of past campaigns. But then we have Elder Scrolls over on GameFound, which currently has 11,000 followers. This is from Chip Theory Games. Another video game to board game adaptation. We have 3 in a row, all of them bringing huge amounts of followers. This is one that I'm sure will have more followers by the time it launches. This is March 2023. Over here for Elden Ring, I believe they said, I don't know exactly if they said when it's coming. I think it's coming soon, but we have Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era, which will be coming in March, so there's plenty of time for the follower count to grow here. But these are all just 15,000, 20,000, and 11,000 on 3 separate games. From there, though, we have another video game. This is an interesting one as well, because now we're looking into the past. We're looking into the past where we have 45,000 followers, not followers, we had 45,000 backers on Go On Board the Witcher campaign. Now, if I recall correctly, before launch, I believe they had around 38,000, 39,000 followers before launch, which means like that's just an interesting conversation about IP to conversion ratio and all that. Don't know how that will play out. We'll see. Keep in mind, The Witcher had the benefit of being both a video game and a Netflix show, both of them bringing in an audience in different ways. But I'm curious, because 45,000 on, 39,000 followers, maybe Elden Ring sees a spike before the campaign. I don't know. I don't know how it'll play out. Ultimately, we'll see. But it could well do well. It could be amazing. It could be great. It could do poorly. I don't know. Well, not poorly. It's not going to do poorly. I'm sorry. But I don't know if we're looking at, 19,000 backers, 27,000 backers. I don't know what that translates into, and I'm very curious. And then looking at another past to present conversion, although this one is still mid the process, we have Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin over on GameFound right now. And this one has 17,000 backers right now, and I believe they had around 35,000 followers. So still more time in the campaign, still 4 days left. I'm realizing now there's no way I'm going to have my Tainted Grail coverage up before the end of the campaign. Meaning I covered Kings of Ruin, but I was hoping to have coverage of the core game. I'll have coverage of the core game up while there's still time to go through the Pledge Manager and all that stuff, that's for sure. But either way, but yeah, 35,000 followers roughly to 16,000 converted. Maybe by the time this campaign's done, my throat, what's up with I keep sorry about that. But yeah, 19,000, maybe 19, 20,000 by the time it's done. So yeah, that's just a conversation around different high counts of followers and how they converted in different ways. In any case, moving on to the next news piece. The next news piece I don't actually have a picture for because I found the picture and I lost the picture. This is from Essen. Essen in general, by the way, has a ton of news pieces. Just we haven't really covered all of them in detail because, well, I haven't covered them. I haven't consolidated them all to actually cover them, but there's a ton of news out of Essen in general. But one thing I did see was a big box for Teotihuacan. And I couldn't find the picture again. So there's a big box for Teotihuacan, I believe. Probably. Maybe. And then lastly, we have Command and Assassin's Creed. Command and Assassin's Creed, they're going to be having a RPG, a tabletop RPG. The board game has already been done by Triton Noir, who did V Sabotage over there. But they've done the board game for Assassin's Creed, and they have Command adapting the RPG. We have Francesco Nepatello, I think I'm saying that correctly. That's going to be the designer of Dune War for Arrakis, of War of the Ring, and all that. He's currently part of... He's like their head of IP, the head of IP and RPGs for Command, and he's working with an IP RPG, Assassin's Creed, and that has me, well, uninterested. I don't do RPGs, although I will acknowledge if I was going to do an RPG, Assassin's Creed feels like it would be cool. I played the video game for years, loved it. I kind of stopped around Black Flag, I think. I think that's when I stopped playing a little more video games. I played 1, 2, 3. I did dive back in briefly for Black Flag. I did dive in back briefly for the Egyptian one. But I haven't really heavily been in Assassin's Creed in a long time. But I loved it back in the day. And the board game from Triton Noir, absolutely loved it. Thought it was excellent. A great adaptation of their V Sabotage system, converted around Assassin's Creed, and really well done. And overall, I just think it's a cool IP. Terrible movie, cool IP. But that's Assassin's Creed from Command, and that's going to wrap up all our news pieces. I read a little bit of a tangent around follower and backer counts and all that stuff, but that's what happens when we have a lighter news week. And from there, let's go ahead and dive into the topic of the week, which, speaking of lighter weeks, is about the fact that we are about to have a lighter period coming up in Kickstarter. Crowdfunding in general. This is basically a conversation that happens this is not really a topic so much as a heads up, but in general, crowdfunding tends to go through cycles and spurts as far as where the campaigns are and the kind of downer periods. They tend to be a down period usually around June-ish or so. There tends to be a bit of a down spike where campaigns just can go dead for a few weeks, but then additionally, usually around late November through early January, you'll see a slow fading off in late November, almost dead in December, and then a slow climbing up in early January before we're back to normal. So around 2 weeks of fading down, 2 weeks of fading up, and then a month dead is what we've generally seen in the tabletop crowdfunding space as far as, well, crowdfunding. Generally, campaigns are not quite so eager to compete with your holiday spending, with the fact that you're buying gifts and that, and also people aren't really sure what they're doing in terms of gifts in general, because you want to get all those gifts, but you have your whole list that you gave to your spouse or whoever as far as games to get you, but that also means you're in a bit of a buying hiatus. In general, people spend less money on board games leading up to the holidays. After the holidays, they go back to normal, although it is a slow fade as well. At the end of the day, people are often dealing with budgets. There are people who can buy whatever campaign comes up and they don't worry or care whatsoever. But there are plenty more people who are dealing with budgets in general, who are dealing with that nature of the ebb and flow of your dollars coming in and figuring out where they're going to go as far as your extra, there's a term for it. Oh my gosh, your disposable income. Your disposable income as far as the extra disposable dollars that you can spend. I hate that term. Income's not disposable. It's a choice of where you want to spend your money. Not to go on a random tangent, but I saw a post yesterday on Facebook that said, "Don't say I don't have time for that. Say it's not a priority for me with the time I have." Which is dark and true. The most common example would be, pick anything that's like often like a self-help thing. Like, oh, don't say I don't have time for, to start a new business. Say starting a new business is not a priority for me with the time I have. That's really what you mean when you say I don't have time for something. It's a weird tangent, but we're gonna embrace it. But just the idea that more often than not we say we don't have time for things when what we really mean is it's not important to us, and sometimes that's fine. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing for things to not be important for us. I don't have time for miniature painting, and what I really mean when I say that is miniature painting is not important enough to me, considering the spectrum of things I do want to do, but have time for, and I want to allocate my time towards those other things. That's fine for miniature painting. But there's other things that are harder sentences to say that we don't want to phrase it like that, because a good example might be, let's just say family priorities. If you have a family priority, a family event, if you say something like, I don't have time to do X, Y, and Z with my family, saying it's not important enough to me considering the other priorities, that feels a little darker. And it doesn't feel good to say it. But it's worth saying because it does remind you where your priorities lie. It's easier to be like, I don't have time to do X, Y, and Z. It's a little harder if you say it's not important to me and it actually is important to you, but you're just pushing it off. Now dark and twisted. Either way, point is, the point is understand what you're doing with your time. Why are we on this random tangent? Because I was talking about disposable income. I don't think that calling it disposable income is a good idea. I think it's calling it what is worth doing with your income. Income is not disposable. Income is valued, and choosing what to spend your money on is a good idea in general. I do a lot of conversations around money and board games and what's worth it, backing and not to back, all that stuff. One of the things I frequently have to deal with, we're on such a random tangent of this topic, I apologize. One of the things I frequently have to deal with is I talk about the value of Kickstarter campaigns or crowdfunding campaigns when I back them. And I've always had the occasional comment here and there of like, oh my gosh, you don't love board games, you're talking about dollars and cents. And the answer is no, I love board games. I love board games more than most people I know. The practical reality, though, is I want to be able to buy what I can responsibly. I want to be able to buy as many as I can. And if I back things with the mindfulness of whether I can or can't resell it, that allows me to get more board games while not going through overly too much disposable income. It allows me to keep a cycle going. The reason I talk about value on this channel, the reason I talk about dollars and cents and should you get it, should you not, do you have time, what about your collection, the reason I am both showcasing you the hottest, newest games and tempting you, while on the other hand talking about ways to not back things and whether you should or shouldn't back things, is because of that balance. It's because of the balance of loving the hobby and loving things within the hobby, but wanting to be responsible at the same time. You can have both. You can be responsible and enjoy things. This is such a random tangent. In other news, Kickstarter is going to be dead in December. That was the topic of the week. I don't know. I'm going to stick with the topic because I'm going to call the topic what I was originally going to call the topic, and I'll let whoever shows up in this topic session enjoy this random tangent along with me. But yeah, Kickstarter will be dead in December. Not dead. Lighter. There's always some campaigns. That's one of the interesting conversations as well, by the way. There's always that weird conversation of, is this a good time for me to launch my campaign because I'm not competing for other people's dollars? And it's always tempting, but it's also scary because the nature of things is, yes, you're competing less other people's dollars, but there's less people being brought to crowdfunding through other campaigns, and people are being tighter with their budgets. So the short answer is generally people tend to be conservative with not having that many campaigns in December, or not having larger campaigns in December. I don't know what we're going to do on this channel in December, because generally whenever we have those dead periods, I have to figure out what videos go up on Monday, because Monday is our dedicated to back or not to back slot. one of the first videos will be all the late pledges. I haven't done an all the late pledges in a while, so you can expect that to happen probably late November, early December. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the week in review. Starting off with what I played, I've actually logged all my games, fortunately. Let's see where I am over here. I've logged all my games. If I can go to BG Stats over here, I use BG Stats to log my plays. Discard that, discard that. Do I have my plays? Did I log that play? I did log that play. Perfect. Okay, so let's go through where we are. I believe probably around over here. When did I film the last week in review? Probably, I don't know when I filmed it. Maybe Thursday? I don't know, but let's go ahead and dive into this. So, got a few plays of a few things. We have Now or Never, dove into that one, really enjoyed that one. We'll have a review coverage of that going up soon. We have The Rocketeer. The Rocketeer, a solid game from the OP. I'll have coverage on that, so we'll talk about that more then. We have Welcome 2, and Welcome 2, a bunch of plays of Welcome 2, then more Gloomhaven, which is Gloomhaven in general. I've been playing through on Twitch and continue to dive into that one, so a whole bunch of plays of Gloomhaven. We have Cartographers and Cartographers, some more roll and writes being played. We have Tetris, not Tetris, we have 10 Tricks down here. We'll have coverage of that after I get a few more plays in. We have Dungeon Decorators. Dungeon Decorators is a more family-friendly tile-laying game where you are decorating your dungeon. I'll be talking about that more at some point in a dedicated review. We have Oriflamme. I think it's Oriflamme. I don't think it's Oriflame. Oriflamme, Ablaze. Played the Ablaze version of Oriflamme. It's more Oriflamme. I like Oriflamme. This is more messing with people's minds as you try to play things down. To me, it basically gives me the gameplay experience of Citadels, but in a shorter time frame and a smaller package. And so overall, I kept Oriflamme over Citadels. I like Citadels. To me, Citadels I like in half an hour. I don't like it in 45 minutes or an hour even. We have Cockroach Poker Royale. Dove into that a few times. Always a fun game. 9 Minute Kingdom, a great short game that I will have review coverage at some point, but I've been continuing to play it and just enjoying it. It's 9 minutes long. They had a roll and write on Kickstarter recently. I did not back that one. Did not look intriguing to me. I think I'd rather play Cartographers than the 9 Minute Kingdoms roll and write, but I would rather play 9 Minute Kingdoms than actually I don't know if that's true. I like Cartographers a lot. It's a good game. Feast for Odin. I played Feast for Odin again. This one I had a chance to play it in person again. I played it at WSBG, the World Series of Board Gaming. Board Game Dave actually taught it to me over there, and played through taught it's a relative term. I had played Feast for Odin in 2018. It's been a long time. Board Game Dave reacquainted me with Feast for Odin. We played through that, and then I played it again with my friend recently over here. I have the Norwegian expansion. I have to read the rules for that and dive into that. We have Dark Souls, the board game. The Painted World of Aramis. Aramias. I don't remember how to pronounce the name, but Dark Souls. I started diving into that one. Only started. It's half a play. Don't count it yet. We'll have more coverage on that when I actually properly play through it. Got a bunch of plays of Rolling Realms in, continuing the roll and write goodness. Cat in the Box Deluxe Edition. More plays of Cat in the Box. I should be reviewing that one shortly. Cat in the Box is actually down over here as I speak over here. I had a few chances to play through this one. We'll talk about it. Very positive with a caveat. We'll talk about that in the review. Sid Meier's Civilization. A new. Whoa! What did I log? Wow, that's interesting. It's interesting that on Board Game Stats, Civilization A New Dawn is in Polish. It's like called Civilization Nowy Początek. It's not, whatever. Either way, played through Civilization A New Dawn. I will have coverage of that one soon. I want to get some more plays of it first. But Sid Meier's Civilization A New Dawn, solid game with caveats again. Lots of games have caveats, but just because there's so many good games that I feel it's worth having caveats. More Cartographers. We got in more Cartographers. We got in some more Gloomhaven. We got some more Baron Park. And then we got some more. Is that the wrong? I think I logged that on the wrong date. Because Baron Park, nope, I logged Baron Park on the wrong date. Or I logged it, one second. So I'm scrolling through my plays here. Yeah, I logged Baron Park on the wrong date. Sorry, that's an older play. Did not play Baron Park this week. And then we played Formosa Tea. Formosa Tea, which was a. I think it's not. I enjoyed my player Formosa Tea. I won't have a review of it. I think I enjoyed my player Formosa Tea without loving my player Formosa Tea. I found the first rounds confusing, and then I kind of picked it up, but I don't know if I care enough about it. It can contrast with other Euro games that I think I would enjoy more. And so that's Formosa Tea. We can move Cat in the Box. And that's what I played. A whole bunch of games played as usual. And with that, let's dive into the week in review, starting off with this past Saturday. Saturday, I did a review for Frozen Frontier. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was well done, but overall, I did not love the actual. I thought it was well done as a game, but I didn't like the. Sorry. I thought it was well done as a game, but I found the resources too tight and not rewarding enough as an experience. There were no like amazingly fun moves, which I like fun moves in games, and Frozen Frontier was tight and well designed, but I vastly prefer Aquatica from the same designer, from the same company. I don't know if the same designer. Later on Saturday, we review for the Stifling Dark, a 1 versus many hidden movement game where the hidden movement person is not really, you're not trying to catch the hidden movement person, they're trying to catch and kill you. They're a murderer of some sort. This is Stifling Dark. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It is actively on Kickstarter. Then we had on Sunday, we had the World Series of board gaming recap. I did a recap video of the World Series of Board Gaming, where I just went over the fact that I really enjoyed the World Series of Board Gaming. It was an excellent experience. I highly recommend it, with caveats. The caveat being, I mean, everything has caveats. The caveat being that you have to be willing to spend the money on it. I think you get a good deal if you are bundling in like multiple games and the hotel room all at once, because contrasted with the hotel room, you're not paying that much more, but you still are paying a chunk of money, so there is that. Then later on Sunday, we had an unboxing for ISS Vanguard. One of 3 unboxings this week. I'm sorry, it wasn't planned. I had a lot of unboxings and they're falling behind. So 3 unboxings this week, ISS Vanguard being the biggest one of those 3 unboxings. I hope to dive into it soon. Don't know when soon is. I have other campaign priorities at the moment. Then we have we had Monday. Monday was 2 back or not to back. A few campaigns worth paying attention to. We have Tainted Grail, Kings of Rune. We have Terraforming Mars, the dice game. I think there's one other that I was intrigued by. There's a bunch of campaigns to cover. I'm just trying to remember what the other one. There's another one I was very intrigued by. What did I choose as my pick of the week? It wasn't Tainted Grail. It wasn't Terraforming Mars. There was another game I chose as my pick of the week, my personal interest pick of the week, and I don't remember what it was. Sorry about that. On Tuesday we had 3 videos. We had a review for Super Snipers. Gave that one a 3.5 out of 5. It's a 2-player head-to-head polyomino experience. Fairly decently well done. Overall enjoyed it. 3.5 out of 5. Later on Tuesday we had a review for Dragons of Etchinstone, a hold in your hand game. A 3.5 out of 5 again. I overall like the puzzle presented, but ultimately it comes down to a bit of a numbers game. That's going to be a game you can order from the Game Crafter, I believe. Then on Tuesday, lastly, we had Warcrow Adventures. I don't even know if I can call this first impressions. They gave us... Warcrow Adventures was a frustrating experience. Not because the game's bad, but it was a frustrating experience as a content creator, because they're like, here's this game, here's this like 45-page rulebook, and then here's an encounter that will end like with 1 round of combat so that you can't really experience the game. So I had to learn a full game and then play an encounter that didn't really give me any gameplay experience. The app worked nicely, I'll tell you that much. The app worked great. But past that, yeah, definitely... Yeah, I was frustrated because of the amount of investment for a tiny glimpse into the experience that is Warcrow Adventures. It's not bad. It's also not good. It's undefined right now. Then later we had on Wednesday. Wednesday was going to be a going live. It was the first going live in 3 weeks because of the, just again, holidays and being away at conventions and all these things. But live Q&A, just diving into the usual stuff. Usual stuff meaning whatever just comes up in questions and conversations and all that. And then later on Wednesday we had a Dark Souls unboxing. That was unboxing number 2 of this week. A unboxing of Dark Souls, the Tomb of Giants and the Painted World of Ariamis. I believe those are the 2 names, I think. Then on Thursday we had the best 10 games in Meg's collection. A while ago, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, I did a video of the worst 10 games in Meg's collection, which is a general series I do whenever I visit a content creator, where I try to pick out the worst games in the collection. And there was a comment on the video, or it was Meg, I can't remember, I think it might have been Meg. Someone suggested, why not do the 10 best games in the content creators collection? And I was like, that's less fun, but let's do that too. So Thursday was the 10 best games in Meg's collection, and she and I share enough overlap in game taste that I actually had her guess most of the games that I would have picked, and she did decently well on that. But you can go ahead and check that out. Then on Friday was Where Are They Now for August. This was a looking back at August last year. Where are they now? What happened to the games I reviewed in August, and giving a brief update on those. This is out of order, for the record. I don't know what happened. I somehow messed up, but I filmed the Where Are They Now July, and we had that go up on the channel. I filmed Where Are They Now August, and it never went up. Then I filmed Where Are They Now September, and that went up, which means August is out of order in the sequence here, but I filmed it, and it's going up this week. So if you're wondering why it feels out of order, that's because it is. In another week and a half, we'll have Where Are They Now for October. So sorry about that. But that was going over the games I reviewed a year ago last August, including Assassin's Creed, which I talked about in this video. What a coinkydink. So that worked out nicely. Then later on Friday, and lastly on Friday, we had a Mosaic unboxing. Again, the 3rd unboxing of the week. I apologize. It is too much. I'm sorry. When I scheduled all these things, I didn't realize there was going to be 3 in 1 week. I usually try to have no more than 1 unboxing a week. 2 is like I'm okay with, but not loving. 3 was a mistake. I apologize. There might be an unboxing next week too, because I still have Skyrim, the adventure game, next to me down here. Anyways, that is everything going on there, which brings us to today. Today we'll have 2 reviews. We'll have a review for Airmail going up, as well as a review for Bestiary of Sigilum. I don't know how to pronounce the name, I'm sorry. Going up for those 2 games, Airmail being a SN release, and Bestiary of Sigilum being an upcoming Game Found campaign. We'll talk more about those in the reviews. You can check those out, which brings us to next week. Next week I hope to have a Mosaic gameplay. That's why I did the unboxing, because I want to play a solo game of Mosaic and film it. Maybe not solo, honestly. I'm not against doing a not solo gameplay. We'll see. Depends on who's available for what different things. Then we also have an Oathsworn review coming up on Sunday. review slash first impressions. It's more than a first impressions, but it's less than the amount I would like to cover for a review. I talk about that in the video. You can check that out. And then lastly, we should have game a day for September. Basically, the game a day challenge I'm still continuing on with, of just playing a new game every single day for the entire year of 2022. I have held up on that one so far, doing just fine. I believe I'll make it to the end of the year, and we have September coming up. And then lastly, the games on the table. These are just some of the games I hope to be playing in the upcoming, well, week. We have Dinner in Paris, which I actually hope to be playing like later today. This has been my collection for a bit, and I haven't tabled it. I read the rules like 6 months ago and just never played it. We have Pest, which is coming to you from Arcona Games. This one, I have to read the rules for this one, but I'm excited to play it when I actually get a chance, which is hopefully this week. Then we have Tennis Trail, another one that I've had for a few months. This is the new version of Tennis Trail from Alley Cat Games, a Martin Wallace, a great design from Martin Wallace. Hope to be playing this one either this weekend or early next week. And then lastly, we have Twilight of the Gods from Victory Point Games. This is one that I don't know much about. Card art looks great. I think it's the kind of game that I'll enjoy and move on from, but ultimately we'll see. I do not know. It looks intriguing. Hope to be playing this one shortly. And that's what we have as far as the games on the table, and as far as the week in review. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call this a wrap. I appreciate all of you being here. I hope you all have an excellent weekend. I hope you go play games, spend time with your friends and your family, and all spend time with your family, because don't say it's not important enough to you, I guess. That's a nice way to go full circle on that. That's my topic of the week this week was a mess. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.